I say that all the time. I blame the men more than women. I mean, you're getting paid. I can understand why you do it. I understand why you do it. I'm just saying overall, I think it's a net negative for society. But yeah, I blame the men a lot more. Last thing from OnlyFans and move on. Like, if you had a daughter, would you want her doing it?
Would I want her doing it? If she was like, I wouldn't want anyone like under the age of 25 even like posting a bikini pic on Instagram, because I think like you don't make rational decisions before like age of 23. And you look at like studies, I know it sounds like I'm making up all these studies. I was like, oh, I'm not. But if you look at like studies, for instance, of like best age to have sex and stuff like that, usually you're less likely to have regret if your sexual debut is between the ages of like 22 to 25. I would imagine the same thing would happen for other things, for instance, like taking nudes and stuff. So it's like asking me like, would you want your daughter to like, you know, take nudes and send it to her boyfriend? It's like, no, I don't. But there's a lot of things that I probably wouldn't want my daughter to do, but that doesn't necessarily mean what she's doing is like really evil or bad.
What age did you start your OnlyFans?
23.
So kind of against your own, what you would want your daughter to do.
I just said
25,
from ages 23 to 25 is when that's like 25. The later end of it.
We said 25, but
it's just, it's such a ridiculous thing to say, because my parents, my whole life were minimum wage workers. Like they were cashiers. And it's like you were to sit my mom down and be like, would you want your daughter to be a cashier? And she's like, no, that's literally why I put my daughter into boarding school, so she doesn't have to do it. So it's like nobody looks at their own job, especially if you're doing a job in which you're doing something for the money, and then say like, would you want your, like, you know what I mean? Would you ask a guy who's a coal miner, like, would you want your son to be a coal miner? It's like, no, I'd want him to have a better life. I'd want him to not do that.
You're making good money. You don't want her to do it. So it kind of says something.